We live in an invisible battlefield, surrounded by people who smile like allies, but launch silent arrows when you turn your gaze. You think you know them because they are close, your family, longtime friends, colleagues with whom you share each day. But remember this, physical proximity does not guarantee emotional loyalty. Sometimes we trust so much in the image we see that we forget to carefully observe what is really happening before our eyes. Do you know the difference between a hug and a trap? None, if you are not able to distinguish the intention that hides behind. And it is right there, on that thin line between sincerity and deceit, where many people flounder without realizing it. I'm not asking you to live with paranoia. No, what I'm asking you is to wake up, because ignoring reality will only make you a silent accomplice of your own emotional destruction. How many times did you feel that strange twinge in your chest after an apparently friendly conversation? That twinge is your instinct talking to you. It's your body warning you that you are facing someone who secretly wants to see you fall. But calm down. You are not a defenseless victim in the crossfire of hypocrisy. There are powerful tools that great Stoic sages taught us thousands of years ago, deeply revealing psychological principles and precise secrets that neuroscience gives us to understand and manage those who wish to harm us in silence. Today, you will start to clearly distinguish who takes care of you and who hurts you, who is on your side and who secretly fights against you. Because identifying who secretly hates you is not negativity. It is protecting your peace, defending your worth, and reaffirming the respect you deserve. It's time to look directly into the eyes of the truth, because only by facing it can you overcome it. 1. Open your eyes wide. Most of the time, we prefer to live with our eyes closed. It's more comfortable, simpler. But comfort is dangerous because it numbs your senses and makes you vulnerable to attacks that you don't see coming. If you want to identify who around you really doesn't want your well-being, you need to wake up. You need to open your eyes wide. No matter how uncomfortable or painful what you are going to discover may be. Imagine walking through a dark forest. If you move forward with your eyes closed, blindly trusting that you won't fall, it's only a matter of time before you stumble, or worse yet, fall into the void. But what happens if you open your eyes even a little? Even though the darkness is still there, you slowly get used to distinguishing hidden dangers. You begin to notice shadows, subtle movements, threats that have always been there, waiting for you to make a false step. The same thing happens with the people around you. Many hide their true intentions behind seemingly kind gestures. A pat on the back can be both support and a push down. It all depends on the hidden intention behind it. Observe who smiles only when others are watching, who is kind to you only when they need something, who disappears or radically changes when you go through a difficult time. The Stoics taught something powerful. Perception is the basis of personal control. Marcus Aurelius, in his Meditations, wrote that everything we hear is an opinion, not a fact. Everything we see is a perspective, not the absolute truth. Applying this to your daily life, you will learn that to discover the real intentions of others, you need to set aside the superficial and observe with genuine attention the small signals that betray their true face. Neuroscience also provides clarity on this. Our brain detects threats intuitively and quickly, even before we are aware. This is called instinct, and it is nothing more than your mind perceiving inconsistencies in the behavior of those around you. If you feel uncomfortable in the presence of someone, no matter that you can't rationally explain the reason, Don't ignore that signal. Your subconscious perceived something that you are not yet able to rationalize. Listen to it. Also, observe the consistency between what people say and what they do. Words are easy to manipulate, actions not so much. Epictetus, another wise Stoic, warned that someone's true nature is not revealed in their speeches, but in their daily decisions. When someone who says they value you constantly makes decisions that harm you, it's not a coincidence, it's revealing. Learn to trust more in what you see than in what you hear. But opening your eyes wide also implies doing so inwardly, looking at yourself honestly and asking yourself why you tolerate situations in which someone is clearly hurting you. It's uncomfortable, I know, but necessary. Many times we close our eyes not out of ignorance, but out of fear of confronting what we intuit is true. Stoicism calls you to abandon self-deception, because only then will you regain your personal power. It's not about constantly distrusting, but about learning to trust intelligently. Whoever opens their eyes wide knows how to differentiate between who deserves to be close and who does not. Learn to perceive the falsehood hidden in sweet words and the sincerity in an honest silence. Learn to recognize who sincerely rejoices in your achievements and who disguises their envy as joy. Finally, remember that not opening your eyes to reality is giving up power over your own life. If you prefer not to look, you will allow others to decide your worth, your emotional stability, even your happiness. It's time to wake up, to face uncomfortable truths, to defend the most valuable thing you have, yourself. 2. Decipher smiles. A smile is the most perfect camouflage there is. It can hide dark feelings, selfish intentions, and poisonous thoughts behind a seemingly friendly facade. Learn this as soon as possible. Not all smiles mean joy. Not all seek your well-being. Some of them are just carefully crafted disguises to hide the silent hatred someone feels for you. We live in a society obsessed with appearing happy and cordial all the time. It's almost mandatory to constantly smile, even if that means hiding deep discomfort or resentment. Therefore, if you really want to know who is with you and who secretly despises you, you must master the art of deciphering smiles. You must learn to look beyond the superficial gesture and find the true message behind that small movement of the lips. Pay close attention when someone smiles at you. A genuine smile involves more than just the lips. The eyes inevitably participate. When a person feels genuine joy or appreciation for you, their eyes reflect that emotion. They shine. They wrinkle slightly at the corners, revealing a spontaneity impossible to imitate. But when the smile is fake, artificial, the eyes remain cold, distant, like two impenetrable crystals. That's when you should worry, because you're facing someone who has learned to pretend, someone who hides something behind that mask you call a smile. Psychology calls this a social smile. It's the smile we use to be polite, to avoid conflict. But deep down, it often reveals nothing more than rejection, discomfort, or even anger. Think about how many people smile kindly, but as soon as you turn around, their eyes follow you coldly or whisper hurtful words in your absence. This contradiction is not an accident. It's exactly what you need to learn to detect. To decipher smiles, you first need to stop idealizing the people close to you. We often ignore the falseness in the faces we love the most because admitting it would be painful. But doing so is necessary. We're not talking about paranoia or extreme distrust, but about emotional clarity, about not allowing someone else to mock your emotional intelligence, disguising with a smile the hostility they feel for you. Pay special attention to smiles that appear in uncomfortable or conflictive situations. If someone smiles too much when things are tense, they're not necessarily trying to calm the situation. Maybe they simply enjoy the chaos they cause in you. Maybe they hate you so much that they get pleasure from seeing you confused, disoriented, unable to clearly distinguish what's happening. And while you're doubting, that person continues to silently control the course of the situation. Neuroscience teaches us that our brain perceives subtle differences between real and feigned emotions. That's why you feel that inexplicable discomfort when someone smiles at you falsely. Your instinct perceives the inconsistency, the hidden lie. Listen to that instinct, because it's right more often than you think. If something inside you doubts when someone smiles, ask yourself what you really saw in that smile that made you suspicious. Deciphering smiles also involves recognizing patterns. Does someone only smile when others are watching and never do it with you in private? Does their smile disappear as soon as you achieve something positive? These are clear signals that we ignore too often. Learn to detect that pattern quickly, because someone who secretly hates you will never sincerely celebrate your achievements. Their smiles will always be conditioned by specific circumstances, never by genuine happiness. Finally, remember something fundamental. Whoever smiles falsely always ends up revealing their true face. It may take weeks, months, even years, but the moment will come when the mask will fall. Your responsibility is to detect those small cracks in the facade before the emotional damage is deep. Don't be afraid to question someone's authenticity, no matter how close they seem. If the smile is honest, it will withstand any test. If it's not, it deserves to be discovered as soon as possible. Learn to read smiles like you read words, because behind each gesture hide complete stories, deep intentions, and truths that you may not want to accept, but that you need to recognize. Do it now, before it's too late. Decipher every smile that is given to you, because only then will you prevent that same smile from destroying you. 3. Face the coldness. Emotional coldness is like a silent winter that slowly invades every corner of your life. At first, you may not even notice how the warmth disappears from your surroundings, because it happens gradually, almost imperceptibly. It's like walking on a frozen lake, believing you're on solid ground, until you hear the crack of the ice under your feet. That's when you understand, abruptly, the danger you're in. That's when you realize that although you didn't feel it clearly, the coldness was always there, waiting for the exact moment to break and plunge you into icy waters of pain and disappointment. Indifference is a powerful and cruel weapon. It can silently destroy relationships, friendships, bonds that seem solid. When someone close secretly hates you, one of the most common and devastating ways they express that hatred is through coldness, indifferent treatment, emotional distance, cutting silence that leaves you wondering over and over what you did wrong. This coldness seeks to slowly break you, to bring you to a state of confusion and despair, until you end up doubting even your own worth. But the only way to overcome this emotional winter is to face it head-on, and you must do it soon, before it completely freezes you. You cannot allow another person's indifference to determine your worth or your emotional stability. Accepting someone's coldness as normal is to give them immense power over you. It's like allowing someone else to control the emotional thermostat of your life, deciding when you deserve human warmth and when you don't. Watch carefully when and how someone treats you coldly. You will generally notice that it happens when you most need support, when you achieve something important, or when you go through a vulnerable moment. This indifference is not casual. It's a deliberate act to weaken you. If someone is never available for you emotionally, if their responses are always short and dry, or if their silence is a constant that wears you down, don't hesitate anymore. They are clearly showing you their true intention, and you should not continue to tolerate it. Facing the coldness involves first recognizing it, but then you must act firmly and decisively. You must look it in the eyes and question it directly. Do not allow this emotional winter to extend indefinitely for fear of breaking something that perhaps has been broken for a long time. Prolonged indifference is a clear sign of lack of respect and appreciation. And although it hurts to admit it, whoever treats you with constant coldness does not deserve a privileged space in your life. Understand something important. Constant indifference is not a normal or acceptable reaction in healthy relationships. Whoever resorts to coldness as a form of emotional punishment does so to control you, to undermine your self-esteem. That person knows exactly what they are doing because they know you care. And precisely for that reason, you must take away their power to hurt you. You must choose not to continue playing a game designed for you to lose. Your worth does not depend on the warmth or coldness with which others treat you. When someone offers you coldness, do not respond with desperation or attempts to please. Instead, return clarity and strength. Make it known that you understand perfectly what is happening and that you will not allow it anymore. When you respond to indifference with self-respect and firmness, you break the vicious circle they try to establish with you. Indifference loses strength when it can no longer manipulate your emotional stability. Finally, remember that the emotional winter will not last forever if you decide to face it consciously. You may lose people in this process. The truth may be painful, but what you gain in return will be infinitely more valuable. Respect for yourself, authenticity, and truly sincere relationships. Leaving behind emotional coldness is not a loss, it's liberation. It's deciding that your life deserves the genuine warmth of people who truly care about you. Never allow anyone to use emotional ice as a weapon against you again. Choose to surround yourself with those who know how to offer true warmth, those who look you in the eyes with sincerity and respect. Dare to face that coldness right now. Break the ice under your feet before it definitively drags you into icy waters of sadness and frustration. The emotional winter only has the power that you decide to give it. 4. Defend your worth. Your worth is not a currency that others can negotiate or diminish according to their whims. But that's precisely what those who secretly hate you try to do. Belittle you, demean you, make you feel inferior, insignificant. That's their favorite strategy, silent and devastating. If you don't react strongly, you'll end up believing the lie that you're worth less than you really are. Imagine your self-esteem as a fortress, solid, imposing, designed to withstand any attack. Each hurtful comment, each contemptuous look, each criticism disguised as friendly advice are direct attacks on your walls. If you allow these blows to deeply affect you, the fortress will start to crack. Slowly, those walls will fall, and you will be left exposed, vulnerable, feeling incapable of defending your own worth. The reality is that no one has the right to decide your worth. Absolutely no one. Those who seek to make you feel small don't do it by accident. They do it because your greatness makes them uncomfortable. They envy in you what they don't have in themselves: confidence, courage, authenticity. And instead of striving to grow, they try to bring you down to their level. That's why you must defend your worth with the same determination with which you would defend your life. Because in fact, your emotional dignity is your life. When someone close to you secretly hates you, you'll notice that they constantly question your decisions, criticize your achievements, or try to ridicule your dreams. They may disguise these attacks as jokes, but behind each laugh hides the desire to destroy your confidence. And the only valid response to that is absolute firmness. You must defend yourself from self-respect, clearly reminding them that you don't have to justify your worth to anyone. Never allow someone else's silent hatred to define who you are or how far you can go. Many people fear defending themselves for fear of being seen as arrogant or confrontational. But this is not about arrogance, it's about emotional survival. Defending your worth is not selfishness, it's justice with yourself. Because if you don't defend your own respect, who will? No one else is going to protect you if you allow others to emotionally abuse you. The first step to reclaim your power is to set clear boundaries and defend them without hesitation, without apologizing for it. Pay attention to those moments when they try to convince you that you're not enough, that your dreams are too big, or your goals too ambitious. Right there, you should remember that those who secretly hate you will never want you to grow, because your growth constantly reminds them of their own limitations. Never bow your head or accept destructive criticism disguised as concern. Keep your eyes fixed on your goal and defend it fiercely. Psychology makes it very clear. Actively defending your self-esteem strengthens your emotional resilience. Not only that, but it also sends a strong message to those who try to hurt you. It tells them with absolute clarity that you are not an easy victim, that they will not be able to easily reduce you. And that, believe it or not, completely disarms their future attacks. Remember that those who most fiercely defend their worth are those who suffer the least emotionally, because they understand something fundamental. Your dignity should never be up for discussion. Whoever truly loves you will never try to diminish your worth to feel better. And whoever does, doesn't deserve to occupy a relevant place in your life. You must be willing to walk away without fear, because losing those who hurt you is never really a loss. It's regaining your freedom. Finally, defend your worth from a position of emotional strength. When someone attacks you, always respond from calmness, from clarity and self-respect. Don't let them see you broken, because that only motivates them to keep trying. Show them that, although they can try, they will not succeed in destroying your self-esteem, because you built it on the solid truth of who you are, not on their fragile lies. It's time to protect your emotional fortress with all the strength you possess. Defend your worth as if your life depended on it, because in reality, it does. Your dignity is your most fundamental right, and no one, absolutely no one, has permission to ever take it away from you. 5. Get out of the absurd race. We live trapped in a constant race to please others, running after approval, applause, or acceptance. But the truth is that this race has no finish line, no real reward. It's a trap designed to keep us running until we exhaust ourselves. An absurd and draining race where only the one who never participates wins. If someone secretly hates you, they will try to drag you into this absurd race, forcing you to constantly compete against impossible expectations. They will throw small challenges disguised as advice, subtle comparisons, demands disguised as concern. They will seek to get you into an endless cycle of proving your worth, that you deserve attention, that you are enough. And the more you run to prove it, the stronger the trap, the deeper you will fall into their toxic game. Stop for a second and think. Who really wins when you participate in this meaningless race? Not you, that's for sure. Because by desperately running after others' recognition, you end up losing something much more valuable: your inner peace, your authenticity, your real identity. Instead of living for yourself, you start living to impress someone else, to gain the acceptance of people who probably will never accept you, because deep down, they already silently hate you. Getting out of this absurd race requires courage, because it involves giving up superficial approval and facing rejection head-on. But believe me, that rejection is not a failure. On the contrary, it's a clear victory. Because giving up running means deciding that your happiness no longer depends on others' applause, that your worth is not measured by the amount of acceptance you receive. It means breaking with impossible expectations and starting to live on your own terms. Those who secretly hate you need you to participate in their game to manipulate you. They absolutely depend on your desire to please them, to keep you trapped. That's why you must cut that need off at the root. If someone close treats you as if you constantly need to prove your worth, it's because they deeply fear what will happen if you stop trying. What will happen when you stop seeking their approval? You immediately regain power over your life. And that's exactly what that person doesn't want to happen. Psychology is clear on this. Those who desperately seek others' approval never find true peace. The more you run after external validation, the more anxious, insecure, and emotionally vulnerable you become. On the other hand, those who decide to get out of that race, who clearly say, "I don't need to prove anything to anyone," find genuine and powerful emotional stability. Why? Because happiness can never depend on external conditions. Dare to quit the absurd race. Give up having to constantly prove to someone else that you deserve their respect, because the moment you do, you also give up being emotionally controlled by others. Think about this. The only way to win in a toxic race is by refusing to participate from the start. That is the ultimate, absolute, indisputable victory. You will also realize that by abandoning this absurd race, many masks will inevitably fall, because those who truly value you will never demand you compete for their respect. They will never force you to run after unrealistic expectations. They will be there, walking with you, accepting you exactly as you are, without absurd conditions, without toxic demands. Stop competing against ghosts that only exist in the minds of those who secretly want to see you fail. Stop allowing others to define your goals, your worth, or your happiness. If someone doesn't accept you as you are, that's their problem, not yours. The rejection of someone who doesn't know how to appreciate you is not a loss. It's clarity. It's the definitive signal that you should walk away as soon as possible. Getting out of the absurd race is freeing yourself from chains that should never have been there. It's reclaiming your emotional freedom. It's understanding that from now on, your only responsibility is to yourself, to your real and authentic well-being. Others' approval will no longer be your fuel, because you are enough, you always have been, and you always will be. You don't need the validation of someone who secretly wants to see you fall. Abandon that race now. Start living in peace with yourself, because that is the only victory that really matters. 6. Master the rumors. Rumors are like fire. They start with an insignificant spark and quickly turn into devastating fires. Those who secretly hate you often resort to this method because they know that few things have as much destructive power as whispered words behind your back. The most dangerous thing? That most people do not defend themselves from rumors, mistakenly thinking that ignoring them is enough for them to disappear. But it doesn't work like that. Ignoring a fire never made it go out by itself. On the contrary, it feeds it in silence. When someone speaks ill of you in secret, they are looking to weaken you, isolate you, make you vulnerable to others. They know that rumors have the power to shatter relationships, destroy reputations, and emotionally break the person affected. For this reason, if you discover that someone close to you is spreading rumors about you, your reaction must be immediate, forceful, and without hesitation. You must confront the lie before it grows and gets out of control. Do not confuse this with desperation or insecurity. On the contrary, whoever masters the rumors does so from an absolute position of emotional strength. It's not about running after every false word trying to desperately correct it, but about confronting the root of the problem with clarity and firmness. Whoever seeks to hurt you with rumors deeply fears one thing: being exposed. And that is precisely what you must do. Expose the lie, reveal its falsehood, break its destructive power. The key to mastering rumors is relentless calm. When you react emotionally to a rumor, whoever started it has already won, because that's exactly what they expected from you. But if instead you respond with absolute tranquility, without losing control, you immediately destroy the strength of the attack. Calmly and clearly explain the truth only when necessary. Do not waste emotional energy trying to convince those who decided to believe in lies. They clearly were never your real allies. Psychology supports this stance. When you stand firm, serene, and immovable in the face of a verbal attack, you automatically regain emotional control. The people around you will quickly notice who is lying and who is telling the truth, precisely because your reaction does not match what they expected. Rumors need chaos and confusion to survive. If you offer clarity and security, you immediately kill the destructive force of the rumor. Remember something important. Never enter the game of those who attack you with rumors. Never respond with more lies or personal attacks. Remain absolutely integral, because that will make those who spread lies lose credibility quickly. Your honesty and transparency are your most powerful weapons against falsehood. Master the rumors from the absolute certainty of who you are. Never allow a lie to define your identity. Conquer the destructive fire with the serene and powerful force of truth. Thus, those who today try to harm you with rumors will quickly discover that not only can they not destroy you, but each attack strengthens you even more. 7. Neutralize poisonous comments. Poisonous comments are like snakes hidden in the tall grass. They seem harmless until you feel the bite, and the venom slowly begins to paralyze your confidence and destroy your mental peace. At first, you believe you can ignore these small emotional bites, convinced that they won't do real harm. But each toxic word injects another dose of insecurity, doubt, and anxiety within you, until your life becomes a minefield, where you fear every step for fear of stepping on another hidden snake. The uncomfortable truth is that these snakes are almost always thrown by close people, those in whom you trust and from whom you least expect harm. When someone secretly hates you, poisonous comments will be their preferred weapon, because they are subtle, easy to deny, hard to confront. They will disguise their venom as light jokes, advice disguised as concern, or criticism disguised as support. And precisely because they are so difficult to detect, you need to learn to neutralize them with absolute precision. Neutralizing a poisonous comment means more than ignoring or avoiding it. It means confronting it directly and destroying it before it has time to contaminate you. Every time someone throws words designed to emotionally hurt you, respond from a position of calm, clarity, and emotional strength. You must show absolute confidence in who you are, because this will neutralize the venom in a matter of seconds. Imagine that each poisonous comment is an arrow thrown at your self-esteem. You have only two options: allow it to hurt you deeply, or catch it in the air before it reaches its target. The only way to achieve this is to develop an emotional firmness capable of clearly recognizing when someone wants to hurt you and respond quickly with absolute serenity. Psychology clearly demonstrates this. Confronting poisonous comments with calm and emotional clarity immediately neutralizes them. Why? Because those who try to hurt you expect you to react with weakness, anger, or insecurity. When you respond with tranquility and unshakable confidence, you steal the power they intended to have over you. You immediately break the toxic dynamic they were trying to establish. To effectively neutralize these toxic words, it is not enough to just recognize them. You also need to establish clear and forceful boundaries. Let the person trying to hurt you know that you understand perfectly the intention behind their words, and that you will not tolerate any more attacks disguised as casual comments. This requires courage, but above all, self-love. Remember that protecting your emotional stability is an absolute priority. Another crucial thing: never try to return the venom with more venom. Never fall into the game of those who try to hurt you emotionally. Responding aggressively only increases the toxicity and sinks you deeper into the destructive situation. Neutralize each comment with absolute integrity, transparency, and security. Your strength lies in your calm, not in emotional aggression. Finally, understand something fundamental. People who throw emotional venom do so because they carry venom within themselves. Every toxic word you hear speaks more about the person who pronounces it than about you. When you understand this, you gain invincible emotional protection, because then you clearly understand that no one can really hurt you with words unless you allow it. Neutralize each poisonous comment with the serene strength of someone who knows their worth perfectly and will never allow toxic words to destroy their confidence or dignity. Do not allow these emotional snakes to dominate your path. Learn to catch them, confront them, and neutralize them, because only then will you be able to walk with absolute emotional freedom and true confidence. 8. Free yourself from unjust guilt. Unjust guilt is an invisible prison, carefully built by those who seek to dominate you emotionally. Each unjust accusation is like a chain that someone else places in your hands, convinced that you will hold it voluntarily. And the worst part is that many times you do, carrying other people's responsibilities, convincing yourself that something in you is wrong. But remember this: feeling unjust guilt is accepting a sentence you never deserved. Those who secretly hate you will use guilt as one of their most effective weapons. They will seek to make you feel responsible for every problem, conflict, or failure, even when you know perfectly well that you had nothing to do with it. Do you know why they do it? Because someone trapped by guilt is easily manipulable. When you accept to carry guilt that does not belong to you, you immediately hand over the emotional control of your life to the one who imposes it. Unjust guilt often disguises itself as responsibility or emotional maturity. They will make you believe that admitting non-existent guilt is a sign of nobility, humility, or commitment. But that's a lie. Admitting false guilt is not nobility, it's emotional self-destruction. It's accepting that your well-being depends entirely on the approval of someone else, someone who clearly wants to see you emotionally broken. The only way to break these emotional chains is to confront them directly. You must clearly recognize when guilt is legitimate and when it is being unjustly imposed. When you detect that someone is trying to hold you responsible for things beyond your control, immediately cut off that pattern. Don't try to justify or negotiate. Simply reject any attempt to place others' guilt on you. Free yourself from unjust guilt by accepting an uncomfortable but necessary truth. You are not responsible for the frustrations, insecurities, or emotional conflicts that others project onto you. Each person is responsible only for their own actions and emotions. If someone decides to secretly hate you and manipulate you through guilt, that choice belongs exclusively to that person. You are not guilty of others' emotional decisions. From a psychological standpoint, it's clear. Carrying others' guilt quickly destroys your self-esteem and emotional stability. But it's also true that whoever consciously decides to reject unjust guilt immediately regains their personal power. When you decide that you will no longer carry what does not belong to you, you take back the reins of your emotional life. You completely free yourself from the invisible prison that others built around you. It's essential that you learn to say no clearly and without apologies to any attempt to impose unjust guilt on you. At first, this will be hard because you've learned to accept others' guilt as your own. But with practice and determination, you'll see how quickly the chains break. You'll regain your inner peace, your emotional strength, your true freedom. Remember something fundamental. Unjust guilt can only exist if you accept to carry it voluntarily. No one can force you to feel guilty if you don't allow it. Defend yourself with absolute firmness. The emotional responsibility you must assume is to protect yourself and never allow others to use guilt as a weapon against your dignity. Free yourself right now from all unjust guilt, because you deserve to live emotionally free, at peace with yourself, absolute owner of your life.
Thank you for staying until the end of the video. If you watched the whole thing, comment "I am Stoic" as our secret signal to know that you're a true student of Stoicism. Don't forget to subscribe and give the video a like if you enjoyed it. See you in the next video, and remember, keep cultivating your Stoic mind.